So all along my journey of the last, let's say, 8 years of the spiritual awakening, something that has been a common thread, a teaching that has come in over and over and over again in so many ways, by so many different guides and beings, my higher self, through so many different books and programs that I've watched, is the foundational building block, really, one of the primary foundational building blocks of ascension, of awakening. Really, no matter what our unique and individual journey is here, or what we've set out to do, this foundational wisdom and tool is a center point for being able to navigate through pretty much any situation, any experience, any dimensional existence. And that is divine neutrality. Now, coupled with divine neutrality, so often are 3 other foundational principles and portals and pathways, those being faith, trust, and surrender. And so those of you who know me or perhaps have watched or participated in a transmission know that you hear these words over and over and over again. And so there have been points on my path of this spiritual awakening and journey where the stubborn parts of me have been a bit frustrated. As I mentioned, these are streaming through and around constantly. Unwavering faith, trust, and surrender. Coming into that neutral point, into the neutrality. And so, really, once I reached what I call my surrender point and the catalyst for my ascension journey about 8 years ago, I quickly, through hearing the voice of Source saying it's time to meditate, started to build that practice. And really, it was in the hearing that, getting to that point of surrender, of saying, okay, I do not have the answers. Please help me and assist me and guide me to coming home, to coming out of this storm, this internal storm, right? Again, like so many have mentioned today, on the outside, everything pretty much looked great. No one really knew what was taking place on the inside. So upon hitting this place of surrender, and then hearing it's time to meditate, that's exactly what I did. But even before getting to that place from surrendering and hearing the voice of Source to the meditation and the actual physical steps of taking the physical steps to meditate, it took something very important to allow that to happen. And that, I realized upon reflecting back, is that foundation of faith, trust, and surrender. Now, the neutrality, divine neutrality, was a little bit more tricky to fully understand or to fully embody. And quite frankly, I'm still each moment of the day and each day humbled by more and more and more higher levels of conscious awareness that come in through neutrality, and even concerning or describing what it truly means. So as I, with unwavering faith, trust, and surrender, knew that this voice was the voice of God saying it's time to meditate, that's what I did. But the mind chatter was off the charts, right? So, oh, you can't do this. I would peek and look at the alarm clock. Like, I would set it for 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, let's do this. We're going to do this today. And then I would, peek. Oh my gosh, it's only been 2 minutes. How is this possible, right? So that was the part where I start hearing this more and more through different avenues of exploration. Come into the present moment. Come into a place of neutrality. And so it started off, as most things, as an intellectual concept, right? Okay, I get it. You want to get neutral. You want to be at a place where you're not, going here or going there. You want to kind of just come here. So it made sense intellectually, but it was quite some time before those seeds actually went from the intellectual concept into the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual embodiment of. And so on this great path and exploration, I began to, each time I would show up to meditate, it would get a little bit easier. Sometimes there felt like there was a step back, but most days it was a step forward. And things began to flow. And about 3 months into that, I had this really profound experience where it was, mind-blowing. There really aren't words for it. And it was a great catalyst and confirmation that, yes, I was on the right path, and that this magical combination of faith, trust, and surrender was really proving to be expansive and be exactly what I needed. So from meditation then led into breath work, sacred breath work, and that was like, wow, okay, just when you thought things couldn't get better or more magical or more expansive, they absolutely can. And so, in came that. And so as releasing lots and lots of density, emotional traumas, physical traumas, all sorts of things from this lifetime, from past lifetimes. And what I now realize, reflecting back upon it when guided to bring forth this transmission of neutrality today, is that I was experiencing neutrality. I was experiencing the present moment, because it was really only through the connection to the present moment and to neutrality, showing up, having the intention to, setting a clear intention. I want to release everything that no longer serves me. I want to bring in more of my true God essence. That requires one to drop in, right? To drop into the moment. Like if we really, truly want something and desire something, and we set a clear intention, even in the getting to a place of setting that clear intention, it takes our presence, right? So I was practicing, I was warming up, so to speak, for what was then to come, which were deeper and greater and more expansive teachings and downloads regarding divine neutrality. So I'd say it was about 8 months having practiced the meditation daily and integrating breath work that I remember. And this story just came back as I was trying to determine what it was that I was meant to share today. So it was a rainy day, and I have 3 children, and at that point in time, they were, much smaller. So it's always chaotic at our house to some degree. I mean, good chaos, but, a little bit wild, circus-like. And so I had this period of time where someone had, I think it was maybe my mother-in-law or maybe my mom, came to the house, and so I had this pocket of time, like 2 hours to myself, like, impromptu. And I had no idea what to do. It was like, there were so many things that could happen in this 2 hours of freedom that I became like paralyzed and like overwhelmed. I'm like, I didn't know what to do. So I remember I was like, okay, use your skills, use your tools, use this meditation. So I sat in the car for a few moments and I dropped into a meditation. And I thought, okay, what am I supposed to do? And I was guided to go to a bookstore, which is so funny because if any of you have watched one of my previous talks, there's also a magical story about a bookstore there too. I'm like, okay, there's a theme here. So I head to this bookstore, not really having any clue as to what I'm meant to be doing there. And you know, it was a perfect day. Again, it was raining, so it was a perfect day for a bookstore. So I go in there and I'm walking and I'm kind of checking out, and you know, I had transitioned out of being a chef for 20 years at that point, 15, 20 years. So my normal tendency in the past would have been to go to the cooking section and, you know, look or go and find some book on recipes or different types of cuisine or something like that. But now I was like, no, I don't think that's my calling today. So I started to walk through and navigate through the store, and on the corner end of an aisle, I saw these two books. And I don't know, there was hundreds of books around, but for some reason I was kind of guided to go to these two books. And they were written by someone named Eckhart Tolle, which, you know, all of you are, you know, that are watching today are like, oh yeah, Eckhart Tolle, of course, right? But at the time, I didn't know who Eckhart Tolle was. So I thought, oh, no. So I pick up the book, there were two of them, and I picked them up and I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this book, but is this, you know, and I'm thinking, So I look at it and I read it and I'm like, oh, this kind of sounds congruent with what's happening in my life right now. So I hold the book up to me. I'd never done this before, but I held it up to my heart and I just closed my eyes and I took some breaths and I said, higher self, universe, is this the right book for me? And this rush of energy like came through me like so much like a bolt. I was like, okay, I don't know if this happens every time you hold something up to your heart and ask them if it's the right thing or not. I'm going to check this out when I go home, but this is clearly the right book. So it was Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, right? And so I took it home and I started reading a few pages of it, and literally like cross-eyed, right? I was like, what is, like, and I would read it and reread the same 2 pages like maybe 5 times just to try to like absorb and comprehend. And so, but yet each time I did, there was this really like palpable and beautiful energy that was all around me. And I remember I took that book with me on a trip that summer. I went to Colorado with my family for the summer as I phased out of being a chef and was determining, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Because it was very evident at that point that I wanted to be in service to all beings, seen and unseen, in accordance with the highest divine law and order, unified consciousness. So that I had dialed into. That was just sort of like the faith, trust, and surrender. It was like this, something that was triggered within me, the cellular memory of my beingness, if you will. And so as I was in Colorado at nighttime, it was magical. I love Colorado. And I would put the boys to bed and I would have this pocket of time to read. And as I would read this book by Eckhart Tolle, I started noticing one night that the ceiling was turning pink every time I would read it. And I thought, oh, this is interesting lighting in here. Like, all right, I don't know, like I was looking around, I was like, is there something in here that's pink that it's reflecting off of, you know, like the science, you know, not that I have a science-based mind, but that part of me, you know, the analytical part of me, the let's get some proof on this part of me, right, was questioning, and I was like, and then so I kind of blew it off. I was like, okay, it's a little weird and whatever, so I'm just gonna read this book. And I was reading the book and I was slowly absorbing, again, intellectually understood, began to understand the importance of living in the present moment. What takes place when you start to pay out our conscious currency, our life force energy, our consciousness, to something from the past, you know, or something that hasn't even taken place yet in the future. And I was like, okay, I get that. That makes sense. So anyways, the ceiling continued to turn pink. There were waves of energy. At this particular point in time, I was still, you know, fairly new to the spiritual path, so it was going to be clear, you know, honest here, it was a little bit freaky. But I knew it felt good. It felt right. So I read that book, and there was an up-leveling that took place in my conscious awareness, in my perception of things. Now I took that, you know, and it was very remedial at that point, I would say, but it planted a seed, right? So I planted a seed. So here I was continuing to show up, I was continuing to do my meditation. I had an, unquenchable thirst for learning more and more and more, just like all of us, I'm sure, here today, and also on those who are with us online. It's like once you ignite that, once you bring in that light, once you start to bring in and embody your higher intelligence, it's like, watch out, right? You just can't get enough of it. So, I was reaching out and getting suggestions and reading other materials and, so on and so forth. And I was really starting to make a point of, even in my meditation, okay, let me try on this neutrality thing. Let me now bring in my conscious awareness that I want to be in the present moment, and I want to, experience this frequency of neutrality. So in bringing it in through the intention, which is so simple, right? I mean, anyone could do that. If you desire to, you can bring it in. I started noticing things were shifting even more. I started noticing my life very slowly. Keep in mind, baby steps, right? One foot in front of the other. But I started noticing in my life that whole theory of life becoming more and more of a meditation, beyond the actual act of sitting in meditation. And through my intention, although sometimes I would curse myself for having made this my intention, through the intention of wanting to be in the present moment and asking to be the neutral observer of my life. I mean, when ask and you shall receive, it was like when not in that place, which was very frequently, it was like bam, right there, right? It was, my higher self, the guides were like, and interestingly, I've never been a football fan, and no offense to those who are, but my guidance team seems to think it's funny to like throw a flag on a play. I guess that's a football thing. I didn't understand what they were doing at first. So you can imagine I have a huge collection of flags at this point. They're getting less, but they're still there. So it's like so many things, right? There are layers and layers and layers. And the more we desire and choose to attain a certain state or work with a certain frequency or have a particular intention, it requires that physical step. Someone mentioned today, we are in the, I think it may have been Jewel, we are physical beings, for now anyways, and we're in the third density. It does require some physical steps, some taking that initiative, right? And so more and more through this unwavering faith, trust, and surrender, and the desire to be in the present moment, that began and still does, to take seed and to become more and more the reality. And it's a constant reattuning. It's not one of those, yes, it becomes easier, and yes, it becomes more, I've found, more and more sort of a consistent part of your reality. Yet, being that we are still here as humans, we're engaging constantly in new environments with different people, with different players. We've set it up this way. I mean, we're the choosers of our choices, right? We chose to come in here for this grand spectrum of polarity and soul expansion. And so, life presents challenges. And so that's where that neutrality is even, is the most significant, right? It's like it comes in these waves of like, oh, I call them aha moments, which tend to be many, where something is, keeps dropping down even more and more from an intellectually understood concept to like, okay, I'm really beginning to embody this and understand how this is playing out. And as we continue to show up with an intention, with getting into the present moment, connecting to that place of neutrality, and desiring to release that which no longer serves us, which can be, anything from, a slight emotional experience to a very significant physical trauma or mental trauma. The more we choose to ask to release that and bring home more of our I am presence, more of that heaven on earth, that's exactly what takes place. And so it's challenging. I have people a lot of times when when it comes through me or I'm in conversation and someone brings up something, let's just use the news or what's taking place right now in society, right? Which is a multitude of opportunity to get into the present moment and to get neutral. I found that a lot of times through the programming that's taken place through this matrix, through the separation matrix and, through the veils of illusion, is that people tend to get very triggered by the suggestion or encouragement to choose neutrality. They really mistaken neutrality with complacency or burying your head in the sand, or choosing to freeze up or to check out and to not take sides, right? Because they're well intended and they truly believe that what they believe in and the side that they are taking is the right side. And of course we know we're infinite creator beings and we have free will. So there's absolutely nothing with someone choosing that position, and that's a choice and that's an experience. And that's a pathway. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with someone choosing neutrality, which, from my lens of perception and understanding, couldn't be further from complacency and couldn't be further from burying your head in the sand. My understanding of neutrality is connecting with the eternal, infinite, individual expression of source that we are in our higher heart, getting in the present moment, opening our wingspan to a place of encompassing blind compassion and unconditional love for all others, and choosing to hold a place of infinite potentials for people. Choosing to say, I'm not separate of God and I'm not separate of you or you or you. I'm here as a divine being to help to hold a space for others to be able to do the same. So it's not that I don't understand your position on this, or your understanding of it, or your excitement, or your belief that this is the way. It's that I understand that, I accept that. It may not be my choice, or my desired, I don't necessarily magnetize towards that frequency, which is what it is. And yet I hold no judgment for you for choosing that way, right? That, to me, is my understanding of neutrality. It's that ability to see the infinite potentials in all things and remain in a place where you stay aligned with whatever your highest belief system is, whatever your truest north is, right? In my case, and working towards this, intending, I should say, towards this every day, is to get even clearer and more and more and more and more and more free of judgment, right? Because judgment is really so much the sort of the antithesis or the polarity of neutrality. Judgment holds us and locks us into a finite potential. It suggests that this is the way in which this particular experience or this particular emotion or this particular person is meant to be, right? And that could never be, because we are infinite beings, and we, although are living in this illusion, and have chosen to do so, our divine birthright is to be able to access that neutral point, that 0 point connection field to all potentials, to the infinite potentials in everything. And so there's nothing wrong, and we've all done it, I'm certain, of deciding, oh, I like this, or I don't like that, or this is good, and that's not. It's okay to experience that and to try that on. And some people will continue to do that their whole lives, and that's okay too. But those of us that are on this path of awakening and on this path of ascension and are here to hold that immaculate space of neutrality, of unconditional love, of unified consciousness for ourselves and for all others, will find that one of the easiest routes to being able to do that, and honestly from my perception and my current conscious awareness or state of conscious awareness, it's really one of the only ways to be able to create soul alchemy, to manifest and to get to those higher levels of conscious awareness that are our divine birthright. So, excuse me one moment, take a sip of water. Thank you. So how do we do that, right? That's the more, that's the important question, right? We can talk about this again. We can try it on. We can experience it in different ways. But in practical application of life, how do we achieve greater connection with neutrality and all the gifts that are received upon doing so? Well, through meditation, we can. I mean, there are so many ways. Meditation, breathwork, walking in nature, and, right? But some of the things that I've found, no matter what practice we choose to engage in, step one would be clear intention, right? The clearer our intention is in any given moment, the clearer the universe is in assisting us in manifesting that intention. And so sometimes we're not even, we can't even necessarily get to a point of committing to what our intention is, right? We start with it, and then we're like, oh, no, okay. And that's fine, because we are infinite creator beings, and we're like, ooh, wait, hold on a second, there's more, right? So take your time with it. Take your time with your intention. It's not like if you commit to this intention in this now moment, that's it, okay, game over. In every now moment, the beautiful thing is it's a restart. It's an opportunity to connect with our next clear intention, right? But as you're connecting, it's such a powerful, it's so simple and so powerful. As you're connecting with a clear intention, a lot of times, and you come into the present moment, and you bring in your breath, even if it's just a couple deep breaths, you realize that, oh my gosh, I'm sending multiple signals to the universe right now. I didn't realize this. I didn't even realize my intentions are many, and I'm saying one thing, but I'm thinking another, I'm feeling this. So that's what they mean by that. Just feeling into it, taking a moment, settling down the thinking mind, settling down the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body. Breath, sacred source consciousness, breath of life, breath of God. It's a vehicle, an alchemizer, a pathway, a friend. When we combine clear intention with breath and the desire to be in the present moment, profound healing miracles are in manifest. I'll repeat that again because it's so simple and so very true. Breath plus clear intention plus surrendering presence into the now moment equals profound healing miracles. The only way to prove this to be true or not, and I challenge all of you, is to show up for yourself, right? Let me back up to say, kind of have to do that first. You have to even decide, okay, I choose in this now moment to take a step forward to manifesting more of what I choose to create as my reality, right? So that would be like the preface to the others. And then each day, whether it's a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just set a small goal for yourself and see how that goes. Stay with it. I'd say, there's so many different theories and beliefs, and again, we're all unique individuals. So everybody has has planted certain seeds within their field for their own ascension, awakenings, and some people you hear, they're like, I just showed up and meditated one time, and now I'm levitating, and that happens. I'm like, yeah, I wish I chose that this time. But most of us, right, actually have chosen to do it a little more slow and steady, sort of like the tortoise, accumulating, shifting a few things along the way, but it's that daily practice of somehow, some way, showing up for yourself, trying to create a consistent practice of that. And so let's talk a little bit about how to access that neutrality, right? Where do we go? Okay, you're telling me breath and present moment and clear intention, but how do I land that, right? And again, there's so many different ways. But from my understanding, it all started with the heart, the upper heart, our heart chakra. Within the center point of our upper heart complex, we have this atom seed. We have this sparkle of pure God essence, which is our eternal God essence. And we carry it from one incarnation to the next, whether it's here as a human or it's on some other planetary system or star system. That's where it begins, and that's where it will never end, because we're infinite beings. And so it's within that upper heart chakra, and you can think of it as, right above where the physical heart is, sort of in that chest plate, right? Coming there. So bringing your intention into that upper heart. And if you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about right now, that's okay. Just make it up, right? Okay, so she's telling me, all right, let me try this on. All right, she's telling me that I have this heart chakra, and within it, there's an atom seed. There's a sparkle of light that's unique to myself. Okay? All right, so let's just assume that this is true. So when we bring our clear intention and our breath into the present moment, calling it in, bringing it into that heart space, something really magical takes place. There's a connection, a deep connection. Even if you're just starting out day one of testing out what spirituality means or ascension means, something profound takes place when we make this connection. And so the guides often refer to this, many beings of Christ consciousness and the Christos consciousness refer to this upper heart chakra, this upper heart complex, this atom seed, as the 0 point connection field. It's also where we're able to access that place of neutrality, right? When we come in, you can think of it as like the eye of the hurricane. So you come into that upper heart chakra. We take some breaths. We set a clear intention to be in the present moment and in this place of neutrality, where we now have entered into this grand spaciousness of the everything and the nothing, this eternal space of infinite potentials. When we drop in there, the more and more and more we choose to do so, the more and more and more conscious awareness and expansion that takes place for us. The more that concept of neutrality and present moment, witnessing presence, goes from that intellectual standpoint or concept into a deep physical embodiment. So I'd like to now take us on a journey, an activation, to explore a little bit more of what is meant by divine neutrality. And we're going to journey in through that upper heart chakra, through that central point, that atom seed of our eternal existence. So making yourselves comfortable. Whether that's lying down or seated. Finding whatever rhythm and pattern of breath feels right for you in this now moment. Remembering again, the breath is a vehicle, a pathway, an alchemist. It assists in taking your intention and allowing it and taking it and bringing it down into your cellular waters, into your cellular tissues, into your cellular DNA. So whether that's a smooth inhale and exhale, or if you want to get into a more rhythmic breath, whatever feels right for you. We are infinite creator beings, God's sovereign free souls, and we are the chooser of our choices. So we can decide in every moment how we want to choose our practice of spirituality. We can apply it to everything in our lives. Calling in the intention, the general intention of here and now, of calling in the greatest healing miracles capable of manifesting here and now for all that have gathered through this transmission with perfect grace and ease in accordance to the highest divine law and order. Taking a moment as we enter into this journey together and allowing yourselves to drop into that heart space with your breath, connecting to your clear intention. As you do so, above, below, side to side, and all around, Divine Mother Sophia Source's plasma womb frequency pouring down and all around you, bringing us into the neutral point, the 0 point of all potentials. Feeling the soft support, yet powerful support and embrace. As many pure source beings, pure Christ beings of the highest source, love and light frequencies, enter in, supporting us here, holding the space and supporting each and every one of us so that you may truly embrace, should you choose, to bring in that unwavering faith, trust, and surrender. When I show up with a clear intention, calling in my breath, connecting to my upper heart chakra, that neutral point, that 0 point connection field, I am manifesting divine miracles. I am worthy of infinite divine miracles. There is no shortage of divine miracles. Breathing and allowing in this now moment for you to enter into this 0 point, this neutral point, freeing yourselves of all judgment programming, knowing that judgment is the sticky point. It deeply roots us and embeds us into this matrix of separation, separating ourselves from one another, creating these separate agendas to keep us from experiencing our divine birthright of pure unified consciousness, law of one. Experiencing in this now moment through this transmission, whatever is in the highest and best interest for each and every one of you that are gathered here and now to experience. Asakaru sunteri entushanyanya. Ari kuru sunturio tanyanya de kusunturie. Ishtanye ka ustare antara kuru inyanye ta. Coming down, down, down from the God realms. This beautiful collective of the Master Christos stepping in. Coming in a circle all around your heart chakra, bringing forth this diamond plasma light of the highest Christos frequency, of the immaculate diamond heart complex, knowing that each and every time we choose to show up for ourselves, connecting into our heart, choosing to release all that no longer serves us and bringing in more of our divinity, we activate more and more of our crystalline blueprint, our diamond Christos architecture, our immaculate heart complex. We allow for ourselves to bring home and to ascend, to bring in heaven upon earth, feeling these frequencies of diamond light flowing through you like a wellspring, clearing, cleansing, activating, transmuting, bringing forth whatever is in the highest and best interest for each and every one of you in this now moment. Anukia a udio ane ariokura ane otuane a isha tukuni nokuru ayanea adaya kuru se kuseni niatore anare kuru ane hae unture area asakuria uea feeling this diamond light pouring through you, moving through, opening up the pathways and portals, creating and assisting in the activation of your crystalline DNA throughout each and every one of your chakras, meridians, portals, pathways, moving down through your entire physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies with fluid grace and ease as these many Christed beings and masters continue to come in to assist in this grand alchemization, pouring down, down, down through your feet, grounding you, connecting you into the crystalline diamond core and womb center of Sophia Gaia, where you drink from her inner earth elemental frequencies, coming up and through this beautiful rhythm and flow, as above, so below, as below, so above, connecting you all the way through this diamond platinum column of light, all the way through up into the God realms, connecting you into Divine Mother Sophia's source's womb of all that is, simultaneously into the crystalline diamond core and womb center of Sophia Gaia. Ayata kurienia, ayane haya, ue, ayanya harau, asakaru suseni tiyashun tukrie. Coming down and all around us now, the solar rishi, pouring forth this golden Christos diamond light, above, below, side to side, and through our central channels, coming in and connecting in a grand way. The center point, your upper heart complex, this crystal diamond lotus, connecting it ever so deeply in connection with the still point of your solar plexus, the center point of your solar plexus, your mental bodies, bringing into a grander union here and now your ability to walk this path of divinity with perfect grace and ease, knowing more of who you are and why you're here, opening this field to divine neutrality, as Mahavatar Babaji, Yogananda, Krishna, Yeshua, and many other Christed masters stepping in to further support and bring forth this radiant frequency of pure presence, pure connection field with the 0 point, creating this beautiful field and bandwidth of crystalline connection between your upper heart chakra and that of your solar plexus, as this massive sphere of golden diamond light now encompasses both your heart and your solar plexus, bringing you into the cosmic coherence and bandwidth of the crystal diamond heart. Stepping in now, these Christed masters and beings of the highest Christos light, stepping in and placing their hands upon this golden diamond sphere, bringing forth and transmitting this resurrection frequency, assisting you in the reset and rebirth of your innate wisdom and connection with yourselves as the infinite creator beings and individual expressions of source that you are and always have been, igniting the highest timeline potentials and ascension codes in accordance to the highest divine law and order, in accordance to your free will and your clear intention. Down, down, down through your central channel, fluidly, gently, this rainbow kundare, pouring down, this diamond rainbow kundare, flowing down and through, igniting and allowing for you to feel the expansiveness of your eternal being coming online, bringing forth a great awakening to your immaculate diamond heart complex in this now moment, feeling a sense of great energy flowing through you, igniting this connection, igniting your oversoul and higher self technology, and bringing forth again in this now moment and activating your highest timeline potential. Bringing this rainbow diamond frequency from beyond the God realms down, down, down through your central channel. It radiates in all directions like infinite facets of a diamond, all throughout, singing to your cellular water and DNA and bringing forth grand, grand awakening. Pouring down, down, down through your central channel, out those feet, out those meridians, hara lines, flowing in and connecting and rooting you into Gaia, into her diamond grid network, allowing for you to have a full sense in this now moment to the greatest capability of the infinite souls that you are, as the infinite beings that you are, connected into the quantum field of all that is, knowing that every moment that you show up for yourself with the intention of calling home more of your divinity, That invitation goes out into the field of all that is and is placed as a seed, as a diamond seed, so that all beings in existence may pick up that invitation and apply it to their path of awakening as well. You are grid workers. You are beings of pure light, flowing in the magnificence and the radiance of these Christed frequencies here and now. Flowing, allowing, receiving, and being. Asaya karuhanye handa, eyandea, 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 hae, ayakuruenia, haenia, o haea, hae, hae, hae. Bring yourselves back ever so gently, as the grandmother, guardian, gatekeepers of Gaia place their hands upon your feet, bring you back into this now moment, back into the here and now, back into the earth plane, honoring your beautiful physical temples, that house your eternal presence, grounding you. Hayaka. Coming now back to where we began, bringing your full conscious awareness, presence into your upper heart chakra, coming back into the here and now ever so slowly, gently at your pace. Coming back, using your breath to ground yourselves into the here and now, into this now moment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Coming back gently, lovingly, allowing yourselves to have water if you desire water. Any questions? Yes.
One question that was discussed is how to cultivate more your gifts.
Okay, the question is, how does one cultivate more of their gifts? Well, really you can apply everything that has been brought through and channeled and brought through today to really ignite that whole process. Clear intention. I wish, desire, I am bringing in my gifts. And actually, I love when the guides are like, here's the flag that you're talking about, they threw it on. Be very clear. And when they say be clear with the intention, they're suggesting and encouraging we don't, instead of posing it as a request, as though it doesn't exist, pose it as a decree, as a statement, as though you're embodying, you're connecting and identifying yourself as the God sovereign being that you are, and you're making a declaration. I am bringing through and embodying my divine gifts here and now. That's what they mean, and so this is such a great question. That's what they mean by clear intention. Being very, clear. I don't wish that because that would suggest that there's the potential for it to not manifest. I am this. I choose this. I am a divine channel of the highest source light and love in accordance with the highest divine law and order. That would be one way of saying it if you desire to be a channel. Because everybody can channel, everybody's intuitive. There's different ways that that takes place for people because we're all unique. Or let's say you want to be an energy, you want to do energy healing. I am a divine vehicle of healing light. I am a divine vehicle of healing light. I am a healer of divine healing light. These types of statements, bring them in, allowing yourself to come into that neutral point, allowing yourself to get into the present moment, seeing what comes up as you say that. Because a lot of times when we start to really manifest, and Saint Germain comes in now, love you, Saint Germain, comes in to say, really manifestation takes place through that 0 point connection, the present moment and neutrality. It is only from this place of connection to neutral point that we can manifest from the place of all that is. And so I'd say the best way to do it is to have the clear intention, show up in ways of declaring it and bringing it in, and then having fun and practicing and exploring and taking courses and allowing your internal navigation, your internal compass, your higher heart, to guide you towards the right people and the right books. And when you think you're making something up, well, that's okay, because you're an infinite creator being, and we're supposed to make things up. We're supposed to create. We're supposed to have fun and improvise and explore that way. That's another very freeing moment when you start to realize, like, hey, wait a second. I'm actually supposed to be having fun here. And that imaginative play is actually translation. It is my divine birthright to be an eternal creator. So hopefully that answered. Any other questions? Someone was speaking to us. They were like, yes. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, thank you.